Hey guys, welcome to the Wood Metal Workshop Tuesday night hangout. Just once again, just going to hang out and chat, and we'll see what the night brings us. Going to run for about an hour, maybe a little bit more. We'll see how things are going. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to tell me I'm not wearing gloves when I should, or whatever, just go ahead and type it down there in the chat box there. And there's somebody's in. So anyhow, not a whole lot going on this week. Got some shop time over the weekend. Worked on a few things. Uh, got remote the backup camera in for the new work truck. Factory GM camera. The plugins on the truck, everything was already hooked up. It was just taken off when they put the service body on, and nobody ever put it back. So I ordered one off eBay. Did one of those make an offer things, and seller and I went back and forth a little bit, and got one ordered, and showed up, plugged it in, it worked. So now I just got to figure out how to mount it, and I was kind of working on that. Right now I think I'm just gonna make a little sheet metal box for it, paint it up, put two rare earth magnets on the back of it, and that way I'll be able to move it around a little bit and see exactly where I want it before I do a permanent mount. Who knows? Maybe I'll just leave the magnets there and just route the wire somehow. Thinking I might have to extend the wire a little bit because it was designed to go from the tailgate handle down to the plug-in, and I might want it a little bit higher than that. Maybe do it a little different angle. We'll have to see. So, still gonna play with it. Didn't the first box I made to mount it in didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted it to, and then I was searching for my rare earth magnets, and lo and behold, even though I just bought a ton of them about a year and a half ago, I couldn't find them in the shop. I have no idea where I put them. They might be here at home somewhere. So I'm gonna have to look around this week and see what I can do and get that project done this coming weekend. Hey Paul, how's it going for you? Paul from Paul's Garage is here. Great YouTube channel. A lot of interesting stuff on his channel. Always fun to watch his videos. So if you haven't checked out Paul, just go out and search Paul's Garage and watch some of his videos. But don't do it right now. Stay here and watch me ramble. Let's see. Yeah, so it's Tuesday, so it hasn't been a real long week yet. Oh no, you're watching on your phone. Yeah, I do that a lot too. Fortunately, I've got like I think 6 chargers for my phone now spread around. Uh, my wife got an iPhone, so that she doesn't use her USB-C connect chargers anymore. So I inherited a bunch of cords, and of course we have tons of the wall warts laying around. So I've just spread some around. There's one down in my little shop in the basement here. There's one in the shop in the main shop. Then I've got one here next to my chair. Yeah, that's why it's Tuesday hangout. Yeah, last week I screwed up. So thanks for the comment there, Robert. I always appreciate that. So being interactive makes this a lot more fun for me and for you. So yeah, Tuesday night hangouts are going to be on Tuesday. I set a permanent reminder on the Google Home thing every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. It reminds me. It shows up on my phone and on Google. Tells me that I have a reminder to do a live stream. So don't want to always be at 7 o'clock. Depends on what I'm doing, but and what's going on. But hopefully, it'll be between 7 and 9 sometime. I'll get this thing fired up. So the YouTube's made it a lot easier to set up the live streams. You don't have to go through a whole bunch of hoops anymore. You just have to click a few buttons. So yeah, so Tuesday night hangouts are going to be on Tuesdays. At least that's the goal. So let's see. I got the new first video of the desk out on Sunday. Sorry that was a little bit late. My editor daughter tried to upload it from her house, and her internet was too slow, so she couldn't get it uploaded Friday night. And I was, of course, out at the shop and for the weekend, and I couldn't get the card from her and get it uploaded out there because, good Lord, is it slow. And then when I got home, I got it uploading, and then they were corrupted, and so the first time didn't work. I ended up uploading it 3 times so you guys could watch it. However, I do have next Saturday's video already uploaded. It's ready to go, so it'll just show up at 6 a.m. on Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to add another one. Depends on my editor, see if she gets another one done this week. That one's a real short one. I think it's less than 3 minutes. So, but I just went and watched it myself for the first time to make sure she did a good job editing. She always does. What do you guys think of the new editing? Do you like her snide comments down there at the bottom of the screen? And I got the audio issues all fixed, so there won't be any more soundless videos. The issue was that I kept forgetting to turn the microphone off, and the battery in the microphone kept going dead. So I fixed it. I unplugged the microphone and went back to the microphone on the camera, so I don't have issues with that. So I'll only be using the shotgun mic when I'm shooting outside when it's windy. Unfortunately, she's not married to the guy yet. They're not even engaged yet. He actually, the gentleman who she's dating, came to me a couple weeks ago. He came out to help me at the shop do a few things, and as we were sitting around BSing and whatnot, he actually asked if it was okay with me if he married my daughter. So, props to him for actually asking me and for permission. I would have given it even if I didn't like him, but I actually like him. He's a real go-getter and he's a good kid. So who knows? He could be watching right now. So if he is, thumbs up. Good kid. I like him. So, and more importantly, my daughter likes him. Who cares what I think? Yeah, unfortunately, his house. By the way, he's a couple of years older than my daughter, and he owns a house, and he has a real job. With future. Anyhow, yeah, they live out in the sticks, so it's about 15 miles out of town. So high-speed internet is, it's can't remember. I think they have DSL right now, and it's not the greatest DSL in the world. It's better than what I have at the shop, though. I'll give him that. So. Smart man. Yeah, I did the same thing. My father-in-law lives about 4.5 hours away from us, and I actually called him and asked for his permission before I asked Leah to marry me. So, best decision I ever made, not calling him, but marrying her. So, I can honestly say that we're going on 30 years and perfectly happy with it. So, I see we got 3 stand-up guys here. The fourth one evidently isn't making any comments. Oh, I'm supposed to say, it just reminded me that, yeah, there's a little $ down there. Don't click on that. Don't send me any money. Anyhow, Super Chat is active, but don't use it. So let's see what else. Oh, the last couple of days have been fun. Yesterday was hanging 5/8" drywall, 12-foot sheets. I'm getting too old to hang 12-foot sheets of 5/8 Fire-X drywall. Crap's heavy. And then today was insulating. Yay! I was still itchy. Had to run home and take a shower halfway through the day, and after I got done putting all the insulation in, and then it was back to hanging drywall. So this is interior walls, and we were putting a rock wall in for sound deadening. And and I did all the cutting. My partner in crime, he went and put all the big pieces in, the full size pieces in, while I did all the cutting around all the outlets and all that stuff. Well, that's cool, Robert. I don't know if I could spend all day with every day with my wife. Uh, that would be might be a little tough for me, and she might get tired of hanging out in the shop. I actually don't mind hanging half-inch drywall, as long as you have a drywall lift for the ceilings. It's just fine. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of taping. Uh, just I can do it and I can do it fast, but just not. It's like painting for me. I just painting, taping, and lawn mowing are three of the things that I just don't like to do that much. But tomorrow I'm going to be taping after I finish hanging all the drywall. I had to take off and go to another building and check out a roof leak today, and I'm pretty sure I haven't gotten to it yet. I got it opened up enough, the ceiling opened up enough so I could get buckets under it because we're supposed to have some rain tonight. And then tomorrow I'll go in and pull the rest of the ceiling and the insulation. I'm pretty sure that it's a flat roof, and I think one of the drain pipes coming down from the roof is probably rusted out. It's only like 120 years old or something like that. Yeah, I don't dare let my wife do the taping and mudding. And painting might be an issue too. She's not all that coordinated. Yeah, a 6'8" tall guy with huge shoulder muscles works better than a drywall lift. As long as he can hold it up while you screw it in, that's great. I remember when I was young and didn't have a drywall lift, didn't think about renting one, thought, we can muscle this in, and using a T built out of 2x4s to hold up one end while you help hold it up while you screw it in. Works pretty good. It's a lot more work, but it works pretty good. Now I use drywall lifts when I have to do ceilings. A couple of years back, I guess it was probably 15 years ago, we were doing a friend's addition, and it was a 25-foot vaulted ceiling. They don't make drywall lifts that'll reach 25 feet, so we had the drywall lift on top of scaffolding. So the drywall lift has little wheels, the scaffolding had wheels, and we're hanging 12-foot sheets. A little scary at times when you're three sections up on scaffolding with a drywall lift taking up most of the scaffolding. Hey, got it done. That's the important part. And fortunately for me, he hired a professional taper to come in and do the taping. Yeah, actually, we just had an OSHA conversation the other day. Who was I talking to? Uh, don't recall who I was talking to about it, but we were. Oh, yeah, it was last night. We were coming home, and I mentioned that the new work truck with a service body on it and the yellow flashing light on top. If I wanted to, you can turn it off and on. And I said, all I need is a hard hat and a clipboard, and I can go anywhere. Nobody's going to stop me. And my partner in crime said, well, hey, you should just pull in and step out of the truck and say you're with OSHA. And so I was talking about that. I was working on a job, and I was standing on the top step of a 6-foot ladder with my head through a drop ceiling, and a guy below me clears his throat and gently tugs on my pant leg. And I said, just a minute. And I come down, and he looks at me and goes, who do you work for? And I got to smile at him and say, myself. And he goes, oh, you can just see his face just crumpled because he really wanted to give somebody a fine, but couldn't do it because I work for myself. So no OSHA issues if you want to kill yourself. It's only your employees that you can't kill. So if anybody has any OSHA stories, go ahead and pop them in there. I've only had to deal with them a few times. That was one of them. And had them show up a couple other times on different jobs. But those times I was always working for myself, or I was always safe, one or the other. Yeah, gotta follow all those safety rules, harnesses, blah blah blah. Not standing on top of a ladder. Personally, I think there's a lot too much oversight on some of this stuff. Most people should be able to make the decision to what they believe is safe. Just like in the shop, there was a comment on one of the videos, and Somebody said, gloves, man, gloves. You know what? They're my hands. You know, I take, responsibility for the stuff that I do. You can get hurt sitting in a chair. Believe me, I know. My elbow hurts because I was sitting in a chair. Uh, that's a completely different story. It has to do with trying to hold two laptops in one hand, and evidently two laptops in one hand is one too many laptops. Anyhow, so I got a little strained ligament from that. Anyhow, it's you got to take responsibility for yourself, take responsibility for your own actions, and make your own decisions, especially on safety. Because there's stuff that I do that that other people wouldn't do, and there's stuff that other people do that I wouldn't do. That's a good one, Paul. Yeah, dishwashers only are on 110. It doesn't hurt that much. In fact, 220 really doesn't hurt that much, as long as you don't get too much of it. Uh, I've lit myself up with 220 a couple of times. Good story, So you're not supposed to use a cell phone and drive. Okay, I understand that. It's not safe. And Minnesota just passed a law where we can't. The new truck has hands free, so I don't have to worry about that anymore while I'm driving. However, I was running wires for a dryer and had the electrical panel open, and the phone rang, and I was holding the phone under my ear like this, and went ahead and was feeding the wires through while I was talking, and wasn't paying as close attention as I have, and the bare ground wire arced across the bus bars in the box, and pretty good flash. No shock, but pretty good flash. Made me jump. Good thing I jumped in the right direction, away from the box. So, here's the thing. A lot of stuff you have to leave powered to check it to see if what's wrong with it. You can't. There's a lot of tests you can't do if there's no electricity there. Yeah, there's some tests you can, but a lot of stuff to test stuff you actually need it running to have a load on it to actually test to see if it's working properly. Um, so it is what it is, and you got once again it's what you feel safe and what you know is safe, and experience helps a lot there. I wouldn't recommend somebody without experience doing a lot of stuff that I do, but I've been doing it for a long time and have that experience and know what I'm capable of and what's safe. So, yeah, I like how these conversations just keep rolling and move along. So I was like 24 minutes and it just kind of disappeared, which is great. Thanks, guys, Paul and Robert. So what are you guys drinking tonight? I got this wonderful glass of grape juice. Actually, I like grape juice, so it works. I've quit drinking Mountain Dew after work. I've been doing that for almost a year now. Actually, I think it's over a year. So once work is done, I get home, no more caffeine. Uh, Part of that's because pretty soon I'm going to be having to get up at 3 in the morning every time it snows. So if I don't have the caffeine, I can actually fall asleep. And even better yet, when I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can have the caffeine and it actually works. Yeah, I think I drank in about a gallon and a half of water today. Space we were working insulating and drywalling in. Thermostat's disconnected at the moment, so it's running off its set temperature, which I think is 71. So it's 71 in there. And when you're working, 71 is kind of warm. I wish I could kick the AC on and drop it down to about 66. That would be perfect, but can't do that till we're done working and they put the new thermostats in. Go figure. So yeah, so tomorrow I get to go ahead and hang the rest of the drywall and start taping. So And then I got to cut a door into a wall. Not looking forward to that. So I got to cut that door in so I can finish framing the last wall, get it drywall, insulated and drywalled, and then once that's done, we get to hang a false ceiling. Well, of course, that and then painting and everything else, and then we get to hang the false ceiling. And we just got a change order. They want the ceiling sound insulated as well. Yep, I'm right there with you, Paul. Robert, you know, any warmer than you know 65, and I'm not really happy working in it, especially if it's out in the sun. This time of year is outside is my favorite time of year to work outside. You can get a lot more done. Don't feel overheated. Of course, that might be part of my size. You know, bigger guys tend to not deal with heat as well, and I'm a bigger guy. Yeah, that'd be key for fat. No, we're it was big. It was a big empty space, and we're just adding 4 offices and a kitchenette and a hallway to the mechanical room. So we're dividing off the mechanical room, and then on the other side of the room, we're adding 4 offices and then a little kitchenette. Uh, Fortunately, I don't have to do any of the plumbing or high vac or any of that stuff. That's all been subbed out to subcontractors. So I just get to do the fun stuff, or framing, sheetrock, ceiling, painting. So as I was talking about last week when I did the live stream, I was covered in white paint because I had to paint a ceiling in the opposing space. That space is done now. All we have to do is install the new door, which just showed up today. So the frame's already there. Just swap the existing door out for the new one, and that'll be done. And then we have that space will be completely done in that with our part in that space. And the electrician and the low voltage guy have a little bit of work to do. So, but yeah, the sound deadening's for the offices. They don't want discussions in one office heard in another office. So it is what it is. Well, the thing is, Robert, I enjoy working, physically working, building stuff. And it doesn't really make a difference what I'm building. I enjoy all of it. If I had to, it's a nice thing where I work, doing build outs like this and maintenance and that stuff. Every day is a different challenge. Every day is a little bit different, which makes things fun. You're not sitting in a. I mean, I know guys who love sitting in a cubicle typing on a computer all day. It would drive me freaking nuts. That's just not something that I can do. I even not in a cubicle in an office, larger office, sitting at a desk typing. I did that for a year and a half, and good lord, it's not the thing for me. I like to be working with my hands. I like thinking through problems. I like fixing things. Hence the whole Wooden Metal Workshop YouTube channel. It's because I like to do that stuff, and I also like to share it with other people. Lucky you get to watch my crappy videos and listen to my ramble on a live stream. See, it's not for everybody. Yeah, staring at a computer screen all day long and typing and talking on the phone, just not for me. Like I said, I would much rather go ahead and fix something or build something and do something different every day. Have different problems, like the ceiling leak. It's just a nice break in the day. It's like, here, I'm hanging drywall. Oh, I got to go check out a leak and find out why it's leaking. So, of course, I didn't find out why it's leaking. I'm pretty sure I know why it's leaking. I was pretty sure I knew why it was leaking before I got there. I'm pretty sure that there's a pipe that's rusted out, a drain pipe that's rusted out in the ceiling. So, but I won't know that till tomorrow because it was getting towards the end of the day and the insulation above the ceiling was all soaking wet. And unfortunately, it's kind of in a maintenance closet, storage closet, 14-foot ceilings, and it's a 4.5, 5-foot wide space. So you're going to get wet. Yeah, see, there you go. Yep, I'd much rather be a mechanic. I actually went to school for mechanical engineering, went to college for it, and decided that college wasn't for me at that time. No, I put buckets under it, so no, there's the vapor barrier above the drywall and insulation above that. So I went ahead and slit the vapor barrier so it made a droop in it. That's a 6 mil plastic, so so all the water would drain into a bucket on top of the ladder, and then I put two bigger buckets below the ladder, so when that bucket overflows, it'll drain into the bigger buckets. And then tomorrow I'll rip out the ceiling and I'll find the pipe that's rusted out, and at this point I'll call the plumber and say, "Hey, come fix this," because I got this other project I have to do that has to get done. We're under a timeline on that one, so otherwise I'm sure it's cast iron. I'd be up there with the grinding wheel, cutting off the cast iron or pulling it out and replacing a couple of Fernco connectors, uh, trade name Fernco, uh, rubber coupling hubs, and fixing it myself. But just don't have time to do it right now. And like I said, it's 14 feet up in the air and it's in a narrow little closet. Make the plumber deal with it, not me. So, but duct tape's a good idea. Or what's that stuff they advertise on TV all the time that seals up leaks? I don't remember what it's called. Anyways, don't type it in there. We don't want to do any advertising for them. Uh, but evidently, if it'll seal up a screen door as the bottom of a boat, a couple of wraps of that. Depends on the plumbing. I don't mind doing the supply side of plumbing. In fact, I really don't mind doing new drain waste vent. Um, However, I'm not real fond of doing dirty uh, waste side. I've done it. This is the water that was coming out of this stuff was perfectly clear, so it's fresh rainwater just leaking out of something, soaking into the insulation, and then now is first we got a call last week on it that it was in there, and I went and looked at it and saw the rust stains on the drywall and said, "Hey, it's a bad pipe." And I called it in and said, "Hey, it's a bad pipe." One of the other guys said they'd go look at it, kind of forgot about it. We got a call today that now it's leaking onto through there into one of the first floor businesses, and now it's back on my plate to get it taken care of. So yeah, and plumbing is good long as PEX has changed the whole world as far as the supply side stuff. I don't mind running PEX at all. Just did a last week. I did a hot water heater had failed. We had just put a new larger hot water heater in the building. This was one of the small haul 2 gallons that fed just a sink. So I went ahead and eliminated that and ran new PEX to the sink. The only part of drains that I really have an issue with anymore seems to be the between the sink and the wall. Just like every time, it's still 3 trips to the hardware store every time. Either that or I buy 3 times as much stuff as I think I'm going to need in one trip to the hardware store and then another trip to the hardware store to return the stuff that I actually didn't use. But it's P traps, S traps, double traps. Just something you gotta deal with. In fact, the last couple that I've done, I've only had to make one trip to the store. So getting better at it or lucky, one of the two. Yeah, speaking of electrical shocks, yeah, I wouldn't do hard copper anymore. It just after using PEX enough and it's been around long enough that I trust it now. Um, I've even gotten used to using shark bite fittings. I know, brand name. Anyhow, been using more of those for repairs lately. Uh, when I'm switching from copper to PEX, it's the shark bites. Because usually the stuff I'm working on is live stuff, so it has water in it. So you gotta sweating it's kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah, I've done more copper than I can count. It's did many apartment buildings, redid them in hard copper. So just part of doing what you have to do, I guess. And but now with PEX, you don't need as many elbows. You can run it, just about anywhere. Easier to get in the walls. Just all around a great product, if you ask me. So, oh, sorry, I'm scratching here. Yeah, that's where last winter I used a couple to repair frozen lines, and boy, and then quick fixes on leaks. You can. A lot of our buildings don't have a lot of shutoffs in them. Commercial buildings typically don't. They don't have as many, and of course they have much longer runs. There's one of our buildings right now, the one where the hot water heater failed last week, that I have to shut water off to the whole building, because there's a bad valve, and I can't take that hot water heater out till I replace the valve. You know, I've got some of them out there that have been leak free for 4 or 5 years, so that's a pretty good testament. As long as they're not disturbed, uh, I think they're installed properly. I think you're good. I do know that there's a difference between the metal bodied ones and the plastic body ones. Won't use the plastic bodied ones. I only use the metal body ones. And right now, out in the truck in my plumbing box, I've got let's see, half-inch rigid to half-inch PEX, a couple of those, a couple of 3/4, same thing. Um, uh, so it's I've got both styles where it's shark bite on both ends, so you can put pipe in both ends, and half-inch and 3/4, and then the ones that are uh, half-inch whatever to half-inch PEX, where the PEX goes over it and use a crimp ring. I'm thinking about getting one of the mechanical battery operated PEX crimpers, or switching to use the ones where you expand the PEX, slide it over, and it shrinks back down. Those ones. Um, I like the idea of those ones because they're easier to get off. When you got the metal crimp rings, you got to use like a Dremel or something with a cutoff wheel, or one of their cutoff tools or a grinder to get the ring off if you got a bad connection, or you want to take it apart. Supposedly the ones with the that stretch open rings, those will you can just cut those with like a utility knife or a pocket knife and get the PEX apart that way. Yeah, insulation's still getting me. Got itches. Just on my fingers now. My arms seem to be doing better. Yeah, but there's no such thing as too many tools, right? You guys see my shop. It's full of tools that don't get used a lot. And truck is pretty much tools that I use all the time, and I do a fair amount of PEX. So making that investment in the tool wouldn't be a bad thing. I just got to make sure that our local suppliers carry the right pipe for it. I think it's PEX B or PEX A. Can't remember. Guess I got to do a little reading and then make sure that we have the right PEX and the parts for it. And as far as PEX goes, unless I'm doing really long runs or in-floor heat or something, and then use barrier PEX for that. But anyhow, I like using the 10-foot pieces. They're much easier to get run through ceilings than trying to uncoil a long coil, 50-foot coil to get a straight run across something. It just uh, it's coiled up and it has a memory and it likes to stay coiled. So the straight pieces are straight, 10 feet long. Nope, no such thing as too many tools. However, I do try to stay away from unitaskers. Tools that only do one thing, and if there's something else that will do that plus something else, maybe it's a little more work. Yeah, I try to stay away from those, especially in the truck because I only got so much room in the truck. But yeah, there's no such thing as too many tools, and there's no such thing as having the spending the money. Bad thing on spending the money on buying the right tool for the job. If there is only one tool that does that job properly and correctly and will save you time, because time is money. We all know that. The more jobs you can get done in the day, the more money you can make. So, not really with my job so much, but because I'm hourly, so it really doesn't make a difference how long it takes me to do something. But on my contract jobs, I prefer to make sure that I have the proper tool. Like today, I went and bought a insulation knife. Cutting rock wool with a utility knife, you can do it. It's a lot more work. Get a good insulation knife, and it slices right through it, and you can cut all the way through in one swipe, and much better way of going about it, if you ask me. And tool organization, that's something I'm working on in the truck. I've only had it less than 2 months, about a month and a half now, and still trying to figure out tools and parts and where stuff's going and how to organize it better. Can't use my tool bag from the old truck. I mean, it's in there now, but it takes up so much room and doesn't store. I mean, it stores as many tools as it did before. It's just not efficient. Um, it's taking up a lot of space to store just a few tools. And I think I've got a video coming out here in probably a month or so. I'll get it done, and you'll see one of my solutions for that. Hopefully, I can get it into one video, maybe 2 videos. We'll just see what my editor decides. Kind of like having an editor. Yeah, YouTube's paying me enough so I can pay her a little bit. She's happy. She's learning uh, more editing skills by doing it. She doesn't do just my videos. She does 2 other people's videos too. They're gaming videos though, so I don't even. I think they're on Twitch or something. I'm not sure. Anyhow, I don't watch them. Yeah, and I've got. I looked at it. Same thing. It's. I want to be able to open the door on the truck and grab the tools that I need and toss them in a bucket or tool bag and take them inside. Or if it's just one tool, I don't want to have to dig through anything or unpack anything. I use something like the Pack Out. It's I think it's the Husky brand from Home Depot. Boxes for small parts, bolts and screws and plumbing parts and all that stuff. I've got those in there. That's another. I got to build some more shelves so I can divide those out so I don't have 3 or 4 of them stacked on top of each other. So I can just grab the box that I want, not have to dig through a bunch of boxes. That and these boxes are just over. I think they're 13 inches. I've got 13 inches of free space between the door and the back of the box, so a lot of stuff won't fit in that 13-inch space. So um, my Husky tool bag just barely fits in there. Um, then I've got my electrical tool bag, which sits on the bottom shelf in that compartment, and it just has all my electrical stuff. So when I'm doing electrical, I can just grab that box and carry it in. It's got wire nuts and slip connectors and everything that I need. My uh, flexible aluminum wire stuff. I can't remember what it's called. BX. Yeah, I want to be able to lay my hands on the tool that I need. I've got all my cordless tools in one bin, batteries, tools, all that stuff's in one box. So that's got to figure out an organization too. I think I've got some ideas for that. Uh, we'll see how it works. Unfortunately, I can't. Well, I could weld to these boxes, but they've got bed liner on the backside of them. So I don't want to damage the bed liner. So everything's going to have to be either go mount in the factory adjustable shelf thingies, or it has to be bolted to the box somehow. And I'm trying not to go through into the bedside through the. Yep, I'm going to build my storage options. I did look at getting this company. It's a Royal service body on there, and I went to talk to the people at Royal, and they can get me a like a tool chest that'll fit in there. However, I think it was a 10 drawer chest, 10 inch and a half drawer, something like that. Like $1,200. I can have a lot of fun building something for way less than $1,200, and it'll be exactly what I want, or very close to it. And I can build it out just the way I want it instead of going with a factory option. So Robert's the only one talking now. Paul, you still around? Or is it bedtime and you're taking care of the kids? Bedtime taking care of the kids, I understand. That's something you got to do as a dad. I don't have to do that anymore. Well, not very much. Of course, the kids still call me, Dad. But, having kids is a lifelong. Yeah, she's. I was talking to her about it. And we've been talking back and forth, and maybe next year. Maybe next year. Like I said, I'm looking at that Torchmate, and I really like that one. And we'll see. They've added some. I see that in the software they've added some pre-made shapes. A lot of common shapes that you just change. All you have to do is change the dimensions. Boom, you're ready to cut. You don't have to use the CAD software and then the toolpath software. It just boom, they're already in the toolpath software. You just change the dimensions and it does it, which really kind of appeals to me. It looks, like I was saying last week, just kind of nice. You have any issues, it's one phone call. You're going to get whatever specialist you need to take care of the part of it with one phone call. You're not dealing with separate software, separate computer, separate controller, plasma cutter. All that stuff is all included. So, and it comes in a big crate. And who doesn't like getting big crates? I know I do. I love getting big crates full of stuff. Yeah, but see, then Robert, I get an excuse to buy a CNC router too. I actually had that Craftsman CNC router. I don't know. It came out in the 90s, I think. I had one of those. It lasted for a couple years before I stopped working, and I couldn't worked on it, couldn't get it working properly again. So I think I actually gave it to somebody else. But that was kind of cool. But yeah, a nice 4x8 CNC router would be nice too. And the CNC router you can use for aluminum. Another plus. Of course, I guess here I said I don't like unitaskers, and here I'm talking about getting unitaskers. Oh well, it's a rule. It's just not a very fixed hard rule. Yeah, that one. Move the wood back and forth underneath the cutting head. Did some interesting stuff. like I said, I used it a lot till I actually just stopped working, and got a big job making rosettes for copies of rosettes for a classic uh, home, and at some point somebody had gone through and um, did something to the old rosettes. I can't remember what it was, but they had a couple of them left in one of the doors, so I took one of those and I made it, I don't know, 50 of those for somebody. Yeah, I looked at those and I've looked at them and gone back and forth, and I don't know if I just don't want to do the cleanup of cleaning up the wood so I can use the plasma cutter, and vice versa. Well, putting the router to use is just a matter of putting a new sacrificial board down so you can clamp or attach your what you're cutting to it, and have that wood base so you're not destroying router bits when they come all the way through. But I don't do a whole lot of that stuff. Maybe if I had it, I would, but I don't, so I won't. Something like that. I'm not sure. If anybody understood that, let me know. Uh, anyway, so yeah, I think in that case, I'd rather have the two separate tools. Um, I wouldn't get the CNC router till we want to put a addition on the shop, build a like a 20 by 24 or 24 by 30 addition off the back of the shop. I planned for that when I built the shop. There's a section, 5 foot section of wall that doesn't have any wires or anything in it. That's the door going into the addition, and just not in the funds right now. Eventually, we'll get it done. Yeah, see, you've already got a CNC router, so now you just need the plasma cutter, which is on order. So I'm kind of jealous. I've wanted one for a long time, and they just keep getting better. No matter who you get it from, the software's better, um, the controllers are better, everything's getting cheaper. So at some point, everybody will have one. I did, I was thinking originally that I'd get a 2x2 unit just so I'd have one. And I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to get the 4x8 so I can put full sheets in there and cut them up. And then, of course, if I'm doing full sheets of 4x8, I need to then buy a forklift so I can load it, right? So it's not just a plasma table; it's a plasma table and a forklift. Um, One guy I know, he doesn't have a forklift. What he does is he's got one of those hydraulic lift tables, and he lifts it up, pulls it out of the back, pulls a sheet of metal out of the back of his truck, and it'll do like 1,000 pounds. So you can get a pretty thick sheet. And he's got rollers on top of the table. He built rollers for it, and then he scoots it over to his plasma table and adjusts the height, and then rolls it onto the plasma table. So that would work as well, and they don't take up a whole lot of room, and be kind of a nice addition to the shop, anyways. His rollers are on the ends, and they flip up and down. So when he doesn't have using it as a roller, he can flip them down and have just a flat lift table to use. Maybe I'll do that as a project. Maybe we'll see me building a heavy duty lift table, something that'll lift a ton or so. Yeah, you can get the rollers on Amazon. If you go back to when the video where I was building the saw station for the Jepson metal cutting saw, I ordered those rollers. I'm pretty sure I got them. It's either Amazon or oh no, it was McMaster-Carr had them. Yeah, I used to have one too at one of the old shops. It was a friend of mine's table, and he was storing it at my shop. And Lord, I used it to move engine blocks around and transmissions, and it's really nice because you can bring it right up to the level of the tailgate, or a little higher for stuff in and out of the trucks. And I just haven't gotten another one yet. I did finally get a pallet jack though. In some of the videos, you might see it in the background now. It's sitting there. It hasn't been used for anything yet, but I've got a pallet jack now. So now I just have to make space in the shop so I can use the pallet jack. I'll say, there you go. You already got the rollers. So what are you waiting for? I need to get out there and make it into a. Of course, you don't have the plasma table yet, so I guess you don't need it quite yet, right? So I will see if I can get a picture of my buddy's setup, and I'll see if I can toss it in one of the videos. I guess I could actually put it on a live stream. I'll have to text him, see if he can take some pictures of how he set up the rollers and put those somewhere where somebody can see them. You know what? I'll put them on my Instagram. That's Wood Metal Workshop on Instagram. I don't post there very often, but if you want to get on Instagram and mark me down, then I'll when he sends me the pictures, I'll put them on Instagram. Well, got my hour in. Yeah, I tend to use the pallet jack just inside the shop, and I might. We're looking at getting a couple of shipping containers at work to store some stuff. I might actually bring it back to town and put it in one of the shipping containers to use for work. I didn't pay anything for it. I got it for free, so it was just something that somebody needed to get rid of, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time. But my hour's up. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night here, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining in on the conversation, Robert and Paul. And I really appreciate it. And we'll be back next Tuesday, sometime between 7 and 9. Have a great night, everybody.